Good evening, I'm Lee Zurich.
And I'm Lauren McCoy. State officials take the next step in their lawsuit against FEMA over the agency's new flood insurance methodology, Risk Rating 2.0.
Maddie Kurth joins us with the next step in the process.
Lee and Lauren, it's on to federal court for Louisiana's Solicitor General, where tomorrow Liz Murrill and Attorney General Jeff Landry are planning to ask a judge to throw out FEMA's plans to change the way flood insurance premiums are calculated on the federal level.
Our only alternative was to go to court where a federal judge can make them fix it.
Louisiana's Solicitor General Liz Murrill is going toe-to-toe with FEMA before a federal judge in New Orleans Thursday morning. She plans to ask the judge to freeze FEMA's Risk Rating 2.0 flood insurance methodology, saying the feds aren't being transparent on behalf of 10 states, 43 parishes, 12 levee boards, and 2 municipalities. Congressman Troy Carter agrees.
There appears to be some type of algorithm that's being used. However, the formula and the matrix for what that algorithm is has not been shared, so we can determine, in the public, quite frankly, can determine if it's being administered fairly.
We've asked them for information about how they baked this cake and created this program, but they won't explain it.
FEMA says Risk Rating 2.0 calculates rates that are sound, equitable, easier to understand, and better reflect a property's flood risk. But Gordon Dove, on behalf of Terrebonne's Bayou community, says the work his community has done to mitigate flooding risks aren't recognized by FEMA.
2.0 is the biggest hurdle that we have to cross right now.
Dove says the Morganza to the Gulf levee system keeps the parish safe, but because the Army Corps didn't certify the levees, they aren't federally recognized.
$2 billion on our levee system, so we have a very good levee system, and we've added 30 pump stations in Terrebonne Parish.
I think we have these massive investments like Morganza to the Gulf that actually mitigate people's risk, and FEMA has refused to take account of them in adopting our rates. So people are having to pay for risk that they do not have.
The federal court hearing will start with oral arguments and witness testimony.
We thought previously that we would have the whole day. So we had 5 witnesses that were lined up.
But the Solicitor General says the hearing has been reduced to a few hours. And Congressman Carter says even if the hearing doesn't fall in favor of the states, the fight will continue.
This, we believe, is not a formula for fairness, and we will continue to fight with every fiber of our being to protect the people of Louisiana.
Now, I reached out to FEMA for comment. I was told my request was forwarded to headquarters, but I haven't heard back beyond that. Court proceedings begin tomorrow at 9 a.m. at the federal courthouse on Poydras. Judge Daryl Papillon presiding.